received a courtesy visit from the commander of the Netherlands Armed Forces in the Caribbean, Mr. Peter Jan de Vind. Discussions during these meetings centered around preparations for the hurricane season and building on the working relationship between the military and the government of St. Martin. As a follow-up to the courtesy visit, a detailed high-level meeting will be organized in the month of July. Secondly, the close coordination with the World Bank and the intensive preparations for the first projects is going ahead at full speed. For civil servants, the World Bank recently organized a training on disbursement guidelines to learn about the different arrangements used by the World Bank to disburse funds to recovery projects. On behalf of the Interim Recovery Committee, 5 civil servants that are responsible for the financial management of projects attended the training. On June 12th, the first meeting of the Steering Committee of the Trust Fund will take place in Washington, D.C. Under the Trust Fund, decisions on the financing of recovery and resilience projects are made by the Steering Committee, in which St. Martin, the World Bank, and the Netherlands are equally represented. During the first meeting of the Steering Committee, St. Martin's representative, Mr. Marcel Gums, and I will discuss both current and future projects that can be financed by the Trust Fund. The ultimate goal of any of these projects should be to restore, secure, and strengthen the well-being of the people of St. Martin. The government of St. Martin will highlight the 3 top priorities of the recovery process right now. These priorities are the basic needs of the people of St. Martin, such as food, shelter, health, and psychosocial care, as well as education and livelihoods. Assistance will have to be provided to vulnerable groups to repair homes, to ensure basic home income, to buy essentials, and we need to find an urgent solution to the long-standing problem of the dump. The second priority is the urgent preparation for the peak of the hurricane season. Emergency shelters must be repaired, emergency support functions must be fully prepared and public utilities strengthened, and we should always be ready for whatever comes our way. The third top priority is the revitalizing of the economy. And to do this, we will urge the Steering Committee to provide immediate support to struggling businesses in their recovery efforts and to assist with the reconstruction of St. Martin's most critical infrastructure, especially the airport and hotels, and we are researching the possibility for building social homes.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Tell them, connecting you.
are you with the rebuilding process of PGIF?
Well, we are moving steadily fast ahead, because with the rebuilding, we are not just relying on those obstacles that lie in front of us, but as a managing board, the CFO and myself, we meet every day and we discuss strategies on how we plan to approach the challenges that we have, and also we share it with our board of directors in terms of getting their advice and support in moving forward. So we do have a number of options that we are basically putting on table and reviewing them to see, which would make best financial and business sense in order and going forward. But it doesn't mean that we lag behind in terms of planning, because in the whole process, we are right now looking forward for December in terms of the winter season, because our operation team has received quite a number of winter schedules so far, and we have to plan ahead for the upcoming season. So we're right now around the table meeting with our managers and division directors on how we're going to plan to meet those demands. We hope that we are, free of any storm hitting us this year. And if that is the case, I can assure you that the winter season is going to be one not quite as how we were before the hurricane, but somewhat close to it. And it has to do with a number of things, with the hotel rooms coming back on stream. So as the airport, we are planning for all of these events. We meet on a monthly basis with the hotel and the tourism boards from both French and Dutch side, where we deliberate and plan for these situations. So with the input of all stakeholders, we plan accordingly, and to make sure that we ensure that our planning meets the demand that is coming forward to us.
As you look forward to building back bigger, better, and stronger, Mr. Hyman, what are some of the major challenges, obstacles that PGIA faces at this time?
Well, the major challenges we faced, of course, the island was hit by above a Category 5 hurricane, and one of the things that I always remind people is that when you can Google it as well, when you look at the different categories of hurricane, you would see number 5, Category 5 talks about catastrophic. So we were in a catastrophic situation. So a number of the vital stakeholders that plays an important part for the sustainability of this airport and the economy of St. Martin has to do with the hotel rooms. We are glad that the hotel rooms are bouncing back faster than projected, but like I said, it all takes with planning. So we are definitely, whatever challenges we're facing, by meeting with the different stakeholders on a regular basis, we are overcoming those challenges. One of the meetings that we are constantly having as well is also with our hub partners, Anguilla, St. Bart's, Sabre, Statia as well, to also understand what is happening on their side as well, to ensure that the airport, in terms of facility services and whatever else needs to be, that we have those things in place to meet those demands as we grow, as we expand as well.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 Fun Mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of Fun Miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to my card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free fun miles with first use. Switch to my card today at WIB.
Fun miles, from within your reach.
Tell them, connecting you.
In a moment of surprising creolization in a book called The Autobiography of an Ex-Colored Man, the African-American poet James Weldon Johnson, who wrote what is called the Negro National Anthem, lift every voice. You can sing it better. Yes. He writes in his book about a young student speaker at a middle school graduation in the South of the United States who recite a speech by the white abolitionist Randolph Phillips about the Haitian Revolution and one of its leaders, Toussaint Louverture. I remember the shock I felt reading this, about this boy talking about Toussaint Louverture. And he said, I would call him Napoleon, but Napoleon made his way to empire over broken oaths and through a sea of blood. This sea of blood, I remember thinking, has been the gateway as well as an inspiration for so many of our Caribbean stories. Our sea of stories, our sea as history, as Derek Walcott put it. Many of these stories we're going to hear a lot of this weekend, some tragic, some funny, some through song. Ours is the initial site of such a shocking and explosive encounter, the places where these seas of blood kept washing up. If you have had your own language, your own culture for centuries, and suddenly another group of people decide to show up and claim your home as their own, call it a new world, then wipe your kind out, as was done to the indigenous population of so many of our islands, then you've got some stories. Or if you're plucked out of your birthplace and are sold from that place, then are packed at the bottom of a slave ship, then brought halfway across the world, if you manage to survive it, it has the strongest possible catalyst for stories. Of course, our islands are not the only places where violent clashes have taken place, but the linguistics and cultural power of what's come out of these explosive encounters is what gatherings like this help us acknowledge, our threads of memory. Memory that was nearly wiped out with the Taino Arawak Carib genocides, just as they were physically and psychologically assaulted on slave ships and all that came after. In Haiti, legend tells us that we should call them sablier trees or forgetting trees. These trees that our ancestors were forced to walk under to take away all memories of their past when they arrived in the so-called New World. These trees were supposed to erase our threads of memory, which were so crucial to our understanding of ourselves and to our survival. These beautiful trees were turned into portals of forgetfulness, obliviousness. Still, our memories survive the forgetting trees. They survive the beatings and the lashes, the lynching and the executions. And in spite of the constant assaults on both our bodies and minds, we have found new threads of memory. These threads of memories are the places where our stories meet and connect. We were supposed to forget our ancestors and our gods. Instead, we syncretized. We were supposed to forget our languages. Instead, we found new words, blending the old and the new with which to speak to our gods. We borrowed the faces and voices and words and prayers of other gods. We invented double entendres, voyez-point, tongue twisters, stories. We sang, we danced, we told stories. We wrote them down for our children and their children. Some of them will encounter them in foreign lands and in different languages and as legends. We marooned our true knowledge and wore the masks. We would wear the mask until we could tear it off, poison it off, or burn it off, and until we can turn it into something to wear at crop over festivals or at carnival. We creolized not just our tongues, but ourselves, and suddenly we were part of something that before did not seem to belong to us at all. This is when every language and geographical region and barrier that has ever been placed in our paths crumble. Once open, a portal like this can have a domino effect. Frantz Fanon gets his title from the poet Jacques Romain for Les damnés de la terre, the wretched of the earth. The Cuban Alejo Carpentier ponders the Real Maravilloso, or magic realism, of Jacques Romain's Haitian colleague Jacques-Stéphane Alexis. To the Antiquité of Edouard Glissant, the salt of Earl Lovelace, the créolité of Patrick Chamoiseau, the hybridité of Doris Dumabin, we are still all here. In many African and diaspora religions, crossroads are sacred, and we find ourselves at a crossroad tonight, as are all kinds of entryways. The crossroads is a central image in Vodou. It is a place where the earth and the spirit world meet. Sometimes we must ask permission to enter or pass through crossroads, and we can only do it in a language that our ancestors hear and understand. Ouvrez barrière pour nous, we say, open the gates for me. Sometimes we must bow or kneel or remove our shoes. Sometimes we must in some way acknowledge the crossroads before we can proceed. We must acknowledge that this is a space where worlds collide and what some might call magic can happen. But we are at these crossroads. When we are at these crossroads, we need intermediaries, vessels, guides, and language. What in Haitian language we call langage is often one of our guides. The great gift of history is that the events that happened in the past remain like shadows behind us. The great gift of langage is that it speaks so deeply to our hearts, while at the same time being a homegrown expression of our identities. The great gift of memory is that once we have it, it is ours, and if we keep passing it on, it can never die. We are those bridges, those pathways. We are the potomitans, the middle pillars. C'est Creole Nouye. We are Creole. Creole evolved in the 17th century out of contact among the varieties of French and West African languages. The Creole spoken in Haiti developed when enslaved Africans came into contact with French settlers who spoke different French dialects from different parts of France. Millions of indigenous people died on our islands, taking most of their stories and languages with them. Yet they leave words for us behind that reminds us that our current food and climate interests are nothing new. Words like cassava and hurricane. Their words too are wrapped in our Creoles as much as words of African, English, Dutch, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Danish. The so-called New World did not swallow us and them whole after all. We did not fully forget. C'est Creole Nouye. We are Creole.
Hello, St. Martin. My name is Jose Helaga and I play basketball. I have organized basketball events in St. Martin. Sport matters to me because it makes everybody come together in unity. So I challenge the businesses community to step up for sports and help us rebuild and repair our facility. I'm also asking the community to nominate local businesses in your area to take on the challenge and step up for sport because sports matter. Check out the Department of Sports SXM Facebook page for more information. Hashtag Sport Matter, hashtag Are You In?
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
1, 2, 3, 4. This is how common it is to develop a mental illness, 1 out of every 4.
4. But there is hope. Today, most mental illnesses can be managed and treated. Visit your general doctor if you feel concerned about your thoughts and behaviors or have some difficulty dealing with some of life's issues.
If you have been diagnosed and are suffering from a mental illness, keep in mind these 4 points to help you manage your mental health.
1. Get regular checkups with your general doctor.
2. Stay on your treatment plan to prevent relapses.
3. Find a strong support group in your family and friends.
And 4. Never be afraid to ask for help and look out for the warning signs of your illness.
Remember, you are not alone. We are as close as one.
2.
3.
4.
Learn about mental health illness by going to the Mental Health Foundation's website at www.mhf-sxm.com.
In your inaugural flight here to St. Martin today, tell us about Air Century to start with.
Well, Air Century is an airline that born since 1992. We have focused we have focused originally in charters and private flights. Right now, since 2016, we are starting with regular flights. And right now in 2018, we start with regular flight to the Iceland, St. Martin, Aruba, and Curacao. The inaugural flight is today for St. Martin. We have been flying starting with our inaugural flight to Curacao in June 18, and the inaugural flight to Aruba is going to be in 4th of July.
How many times weekly will you be traveling to St. Martin?
Right now, we're going to be starting with 3 frequencies per week. Departing from JBQ International Airport in Santo Domingo, and returning from San Martin to JBQ.
So your flight is originating from Santo Domingo and not the Dominican Republic per se, but you have several airports in the Dominican Republic as well.
Of course, we have the international airport of JBQ. It's called La Isabela. This airport is especially located at 20 minutes far from the city. I think that is the best option to our Dominican people that used to fly or used to have those commercial meeting and business meeting that used to have in the St. Martin Islands.
What kind of an aircraft are you using in executing those flights?
We're going to start with 340. Saab 340 is an aircraft with 27 limit seats. We're going to start with that flight, and in 3 months, like in September, or final of September, we're going to start with a new aircraft, 2 new aircraft that's called CRG 200. That's going to be a limit. That's going to have a limit of 48 passengers with enough space and to give the perfect services to our passengers.
You're looking forward to starting flying to Aruba and so here you on St. Martin. How sustainable is Air Century?
How sustainable?
Financial sustained is Air Century.
Actually, Air Century, you know that Air Century is an airline that born since 1992. We have focused actually in charters and private flights. Of course, we have finances, credit on finances, good finances to start these flights with good numbers.
Persons wanting to use your flight from St. Martin, how do they go about obtaining a ticket to do so?
What do you mean?
How do I get a ticket from St. Martin to fly with Air Century?
Okay, we have online flights in our website directly, and we have our agency GSA, that means GS Manager at Agency, that is Maduro Travel. We work with Maduro Travel to sell our tickets, and also with the rest of the agency that we are going to work together to do it.